Hey gang, welcome to the Wilson Combat Channel. If you're new here, we sure hope you'll subscribe. We are at the Circle WC Ranch, Bill Wilson's ranch in Texas. My name is Massad Ayoob. Among other things, I've been an expert witness for the courts in weapon and shooting cases for about 43 years now. And for that reason, they've asked me to talk to you about selecting an attorney for a self-defense case. When you become involved in something like that, there's been a mistake or a misunderstanding and you find yourself criminally charged after defending yourself. Instinct tells you, I need the best criminal defense lawyer in my community. And I'm going to tell you, be careful with that. The reason is, by and large, our criminal justice system works. And for the most part, criminal defense lawyers find themselves defending guilty people, either guilty as charged or guilty of some lesser included offense. If all your experience is guilt mitigation, defending guilty people and holding the state's feet to the fire to make sure they prove their case, you're not necessarily the best attorney for someone who did the right thing and is being wrongly accused. What you want is your best local available attorney for doing an affirmative defense. Self-defense in court is an affirmative defense. And that means you're not denying that you shot the guy or pulled a gun on him. It means you're trying to show, yeah, I pulled a gun on this guy. I even had to shoot this guy. But I had to do it, and I was justified in what I did. And in many ways, the strategy for proving that is 180 degrees different from the typical guilt mitigation strategy. Now, where are you going to find an attorney who knows how to do that? Well, first, if you belong to one of the post-self-defense support groups, typified by the one I serve, the Armed Citizens Legal Defense Network. I've been on their advisory board, total disclosure, since their founding. They will provide you with an attorney that they know knows how to handle that, or if you found one in the community that you prefer, will not only pay that attorney, but will work with them with all the resources we have of experienced attorneys, experienced expert witnesses, who can help your attorney craft a defense that encompasses case law they might not have been familiar with in this specified specific area, and put them in touch with other attorneys who've done similar cases with successful results. Another way to look at it, look for who the local police would get to defend one of their officers if their officer was criminally charged after a justified line of duty or even off-duty shooting. Now, we all know a concealed carry permit is not a badge, that the armed citizen is not a cop. We get that. At the same time, someone who has defended a lot of police officers in justified shootings knows how to handle a shooting case. And there's a whole lot of commonality. It doesn't much matter whether you are carrying on a piece of tin they call a badge or a piece of celluloid they call a permit. What matters is that your attorney understands forensic evidence, understands dynamics of violent encounters, what's called today force science. And these are topics that are not generally taught in law school. So if I did not belong to a group like ACLDN or one of the many others, and I was criminally charged, one thing I'd do would be to talk to the local police and say, what is your fraternal organization or your union that represents you? It'll be something like the FOP, the Fraternal Order of Police, a PBA, a Patrolmen's Benevolent Association, or something similar. Go to that organization and ask them, what attorney in this area do you keep on retainer to speak for one of your members if they're criminally charged after a line of duty or off-duty shooting? Now, that particular attorney in some jurisdictions may not speak for civilians. You've got some areas, notably California, where there are so many wrongful accusations against police that there are whole law firms that do nothing but sue cops, and there are whole law firms that have arisen that do nothing but defend police. Even if the FOP or PBA is using one of those firms, attorneys in that firm will know other attorneys who do speak for private citizens who know what they know and can defend you the way they would have defended you. One of the things you're looking for in a defense attorney for a self-defense case is not the bombastic guy that they make lawyer dramas about who embarrasses the other side and tries to out-lawyer the judge. You want an attorney who is respected by the bench, that is by the judge, and by the local prosecutor's office. Why do you want an attorney who's respected by the judge? Because if your lawyer is seen as an outlaw, a renegade who tries to humiliate his opposing counsel, the judge will cut him no slack at all, and that means the court is cutting you no slack at all. Why do you want someone who's respected and trusted by opposing counsel, by the prosecutor's office? The secret that only the professionals seem to know is a whole bunch of these cases get killed without ever going to court. The attorney for a guilty man never says, hey, you know what, Mr. Prosecutor, I'm going to bring my client right in here to your office. I'm going to let you talk to him and let your investigators talk to him. That never happens. With a self-defense case, when your defense lawyer says exactly that, I'm going to give you access to my client. I'll be right there with him. Ask him anything you want, because we believe this was righteous self-defense and we believe we can prove it. They generally do a double take because it's not something that happens every day. And after you have honestly answered the questions and your attorney has presented you to those prosecutors, it's amazing how often within a couple of days the office says, thank you for that. That was a perspective our investigators did not have. And based upon what we now know, we are dropping the case. And that saves you untold grief. People think, well, I want the Perry Mason of my community, the most famous attorney there is, and the attorney who's never lost a case. Well, the only attorney who never lost a case, unless they were very new and haven't tried any yet, was Perry Mason, but you've got to remember Perry Mason was a fictional character. Your other problem is if you've got a case where the prosecutor's office is right on the edge, they're thinking, okay, we're strong on this, but we're weak on this, and it's a humiliation to our office if we bring a criminal charge and we lose and the defendant is acquitted. And then they find out you've brought in Perry Mason. The average layman thinks, oh my God, they'll be so scared of Perry Mason, they'll drop the case. It's just the opposite. They're going to sit there and think, whoa, decision made, we're going forward with a prosecution because I'm about to do a case with Perry Mason and I'm going to be famous. And if you think about it, it's a win-win for the prosecutor's office, not a deterrent effect. If he does win, if he can pull a rabbit out of a hat and beat Perry Mason, he's made forever as the prosecutor who beat the unbeatable superstar famous lawyer. That's a feather in his cap, and you've given him a reason to prosecute you. And it's win-win for him, because if he loses, nobody's going to hold it against him. Nobody's going to blame the office, because who could have beat Perry Mason? Capiche? So that's why you want someone who's respected, someone who has a lot of experience in this field. And remember, the field we're talking about is the affirmative defense, not criminal defense in general. You want an attorney who knows how to do a shooting case, but be prepared to educate him, because even he has not gotten in law school the training that many of you have got in tactical self-defense, understanding subtleties of violent encounters and all of that. I've, over the years, been able to interact with a great many defense lawyers. I spent 2 years as co-vice chair of the Forensic Evidence Committee for National Association of Criminal Defense Lawyers. I can tell you that, by and large, criminal defense lawyers tend toward the left of the political spectrum in their personal beliefs. Many of them see themselves as the courageous rebel fighting against the system. You'll find people who are anti-system and anti-cop tend also to be anti-gun. And I've met a lot of criminal defense lawyers who don't like guns and don't particularly like gun owners. A whole lot of them will look at gun evidence with the same disgust that they would look at the evidence in a child pornography case that they were assigned to defend. You may find yourselves having to educate such an attorney. If you know attorneys who understand this case, and you know beforehand who they might be, you're going to be a whole lot better off when you go into the open mouth of the criminal justice machine. I'd like to thank you for tuning in today, and I hope you'll stay in touch with the Wilson Combat channel. We have a lot of genuine experts here. I watch them and I learn a lot from them. We invite you to comment. You can comment on all of these, and you'll find, just as we've all been to classes where we learned more from the other students than we did from the designated instructor, you'll find you can learn some things by reading the comments that follow all the Wilson Combat videos. We'll look forward to seeing you back here again on the Wilson Combat Channel.